The Donut Bag is brought to you by Penn Highway Marketplace, the marketplace for vintage goods, quality collectibles, and handmade crafts. It's where I get all my sports memorabilia. Go to facebook.com/Penn Highway. That's facebook.com/PENNHWY and mention I sent you. All right. We have Victory Monday.
Yeah,
Woo.
right.
This is technically the first Victory Monday because last night was last week was a Monday night game. So first Victory Monday. Did you think going in that they were going to win?
I thought they should. I kind of felt the Raiders were a team that were beatable. In fact, I kind of think that the Texans are beatable too a little bit, although they didn't look too bad this past Sunday. So no, I mean that's kind of what I thought, and this is where we talked in the beginning of the season. These are two of the games, those first four, I thought they would win. It's kind of why I had them at 3-1 or 2-2. But hey, we're 2-1. So I mean, after everything we've all said, and look, yesterday's win didn't clear up everything. I think it helped a little bit, but the fact that they're still 2-1 and then tied for first place, can't beat it with a win over the Browns.
That win over the Browns was so huge.
Yep.
It was that winning a division game, just huge. I think that's going to be very big for the season. Yeah, I actually almost got the score exactly right. I said 23-20, but I thought it was funny that I think the Raiders just aren't that good of a team. But like everybody that was making predictions said, well, the Raiders aren't that good and the Steelers should beat them, and make it sound like they're going to destroy them. But then when they make a prediction, it was like 22-21 or something like that. It's like, we're like, the Steelers should win barely. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of what they did. So
No, and you could argue Devontae Adams may be the best receiver in the league, and they had their hands full with him. He still got 2 touchdowns, so he had 14 of those 18 points basically, and he was a force to be reckoned with. And the funny thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not like the first guy you'd pick, but he's not horrible. Like I'd be fine if he was our backup. I mean, he's reliable to a point. And so, yeah, I mean, they weren't formidable, but they were formidable enough. We'll put it that way. And, and like we were just saying, it didn't start out good. It was, the fire candidate chants were revved up. And I mean, it just 3 and out. Then they go down and Adams scores that touchdown. And I'm thinking, I was a little worried at that point. You could see, I swear, Kenny Pickett has the most dramatic helmet. I don't know what you want to call it. He really likes to put that helmet on. He gets like 2 hands and he puts it on. He's like angry, like, or I don't know if he's psyching himself out, like he's Hulk Hogan, like, let's go, brother. But whatever, he gets that helmet on and he's ready to go. And we saw him, I think, mature a little bit. Despite, I thought, an offensive line that was horrible for the most part, wasn't good. It gelled in the second half. Second half, much better than the first half. But we were seeing him run for his life again. But, when we can sit here and read a stat line tonight of 16 of 28 for 256, 2 touchdowns finally, and a passer rating of 103.5, feel pretty good about Kenny Pickett today.
yeah, he progressed. He looked absolutely horrible against San Francisco. He looked pretty bad against the Browns, and he looked better this time. So he's progressing, and it's just I guess we just have to realize that this is still a young dude that's still trying to figure it out. We figured he had all the answers, and he just doesn't so far. And we just have to live with the growing pains, I guess.
Well, on the right side of that line, Chooks was getting just blown up yesterday. I mean, he was having a bad time. And I guess they kind of fixed it in the second half. They looked a little bit better. It's amazing to me. You look over the box score, and Najee Harris didn't have a bad game. He had 19 carries for 65 yards. And honestly, I think if that line were even, half as good as it should be or could be, he probably had an over 100-yard game last night or close to it. So, yeah, there were some signs of improvement there. But I still I don't know if I'm ready to say, Joe, hey, we're rolling. We're better. We're better.
I just don't
At least we were
understand.
last night.
I just don't understand how an offensive line that is basically the same line as last year and that was looking good at the end of last year just suddenly got worse. I
I
don't
know.
get
Regrets.
it.
I know. That's it. And I think a lot of people, the fire Canada chance, and a lot of blame being put on Kenny. Najee's not hitting the hole. I still feel like if you're going to blame Matt Canada, that's kind of who I would probably put most of the blame on. That offensive line, second place. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
Kenny. No, Kenny has not looked great. He's looked good, but not great. But you know what? He's running for his damn life half the time. I see a couple of people saying, "Well, Jalen Warren's hitting the hole faster than Najee." Yeah, he is. But let's go back, like you said, that 49er game when he damn near got his head taken off when he did hit the hole hard. I mean, you get a little gun shy when you're getting crushed every time you hit the hole hard because your line's not opening up the holes that you need. So yeah, I mean, they still got to get that offensive line fixed. I really do. You know, it's a problem right now.
Yeah. Yeah. About Devontae Adams, yeah, he is amazing. He has shown that he's one of the best in the league, but it was so frustrating. And I know this is a star wide receiver and there's not much you could do, but it looked like it just looked like they were like not paying attention to him. Like here's an idea. How about double teaming or something? Or how about shadowing him or something? Like you just let him be wide open every single play. Like my goodness.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think to me it's just part of like they're not finishing their blocks. And even on that one with, I mean, because Crosby's he's a top end defensive player in the league. You got to know where he's at. He even had inside help, and he wasn't finished his block. And Pickett gets rushed. Pickett got sacked. I mean, Najee got dumped for a couple of, and even with the inside help, and that's because you're not finishing your block off the get go. And I you know, um, I would say that 49ers game, Joe, the difference I felt that I saw, Kenny was holding the ball a little longer in that game. There was a couple, I thought, some coverage sacks. I thought he was getting rid of the ball pretty good last night for the majority of the game. And just the offensive line was really letting him down. And again, I think the big fear we all have is, that can only happen so much. Someone's going to get hurt, whether it's him, Najee, Jalen Warren, one of those guys. It's you can't. You saw what happened to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it was a decent block, and the guy. So yeah, that's where they've got to keep getting better, and I'm sure. I guess I have faith that Coach Tomlin and these guys see that, but yeah, it's still quite bothersome to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The offense looked absolutely horrible. And then boom, 72-yard touchdown.
Right, right, and that's where you kind of want to see Miles Austin get out there and do that because or Calvin Austin because you know what you're not going to catch him. I think Deontay, if he's healthy, he can get separation, but man, Austin, you're not catching him. I mean that was a foot race and they didn't have a chance. That would be fun to see a few more of those plays. And again, it's kind of weird because we're week going into week 4. You don't want to reflect on too much, but that's what we saw in preseason. Getting those balls out there, getting it stretching the defense, and damned if it didn't work last night. So here we are, 2-1. Going against a Houston team that didn't look too bad Sunday. I mean,
I couldn't believe CJ Stroud is like
he's looking
has
good.
like some of the best numbers of any quarterback ever, like in their first 3 games. Like,
Right.
wow.
Right.
Interesting. So
Pierce is a very good running back, so they're going to have their work cut out there for him a little bit. I mean, he's a good guy to hand it off. So he's a great running back to hand off, and his line's been pretty good. They protected him pretty well in these first 3 games. They really manhandled, Jacksonville Sunday. And, so yeah, I'll tell you what, I felt one thing about going into the Sunday night game, even though it had to be, guys, I'm so glad we don't have a night game next week. Watching Baltimore, the Colts of all places, the Colts going into
oh
Baltimore
my
and winning that
goodness.
game. And yeah, that probably should have been a call at the end. And to see Harbaugh pissed about it just made it all the more pleasing. Colts win in Baltimore. They got, everything was right about that win.
I'm sorry, the Colts suck. The Colts are bad, and they went into Baltimore and won that game. That is, I mean, I know anything can happen in the NFL. We saw Arizona beat Dallas, and Dallas was supposed to destroy them. But still, my goodness. Yeah, I was watching that game. It's like right now I am a Colts fan. Go Colts, and they
Oh yeah,
actually pulled it out.
Zach Moss looked good. I mean, they look pretty good. And but I think you mentioned that too in the beginning of the year that Baltimore always does seem to lose a few games they shouldn't lose to. More so than what some of the others do. And right now, like I said, I mean, we're 2-1, beat the Browns, who are also sitting there. Baltimore or the Ravens just lost to Baltimore. The Bungles are sitting at 0-2. I don't think anybody probably saw that coming. So we'll see where they're at after tonight.
They're
Um,
losing right now.
yeah, right. So, I mean, they could be 0-3, which don't think anybody saw that. And this division, like you and I've said numerous times, is brutal. So you have a win in hand with the Browns. It could be worse, but it's pretty okay right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The defense, my goodness. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's okay. Now, in the first two games, I don't think he was sacked at all. I don't even
No.
think he was pressured. And in this game, and the tackles were doing an awesome job for the Raiders. And then they come up against the Steelers, and TJ Watt just has his way with them. All of those interceptions, he had 3 interceptions. All of those interceptions were because TJ Watt was about to kill him.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah. 6 sacks now in the last 10 quarters. And I'm sorry, you can stop chirping about Miles Garrett. That I can't believe like every Tuesday after the games are all over, usually on a fan or sometimes on the Pat McAfee show, they start going down the pro football forecast. Are those people stupid? I mean, even after the Browns game, they had TJ Watt as like a 75 something, and Highsmith was 90. Now Highsmith should have been up there too. This guy had what, like 3 sacks in the game and scored a touchdown. You have him as a 70. I mean, I swear that's the dumbest sight in all professional sports right now.
I mean, it's so funny because they're based on stats, but they're so biased. They're
Oh yeah,
so biased against the Steelers. Well, you know who owns them? Chris Collinsworth.
right,
So there you
right,
go.
right. Yep, yeah, and then yeah, I don't want to hear about Miles Garrett and T.J. Watt. Like
Yeah.
J.J. Watt said on McAfee like 2 weeks ago, if you don't think my brother is the best defensive player in the NFL, you need your head examined. And you can say, well, that's biased. It's his brother, but I think he's talking for real. And here's a scary comparison, Joe. I mean, he quite possibly could be the best defensive player, at least the best rusher that we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot with who we've seen.
He broke
Who's in
the
the
record. He
ball.
broke the sack record at age 28.
Yeah.
In theory, he has like another 10 years to go. He could obliterate the record. So,
Yep.
oh
Yep.
my goodness.
You can get into like Bruce Smith, Reggie White numbers. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. If they could just stay healthy, that defense is amazing. And you know, Levi Wallace, okay, yeah. They let Devontae Adams do whatever he wanted. But the, Levi Wallace had an interception, Patrick Peterson had an interception.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't think Levi Wallace did horrible. He didn't look as bad as he did week one. But yeah, it was nice seeing Joey Porter Jr. out there to start the game against Davante Adams. So, and I think that's the kind of stuff, I mean, if you're gonna throw a rookie in against a guy, that's a pretty tall order. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the first touchdown, Wallace kind of got lost track and got burned on him. I thought he gave up on the route a little bit too soon. And you're asking Patrick Peterson to backpedal and catch up, which is why he got around so late on that pass. Like, like a minute after he caught, he turned around. But I mean, again, just little things here and there. But I still think defense is pretty good. I'm fine with that defense. What worries me, Steele, is that offensive line's got to come together because they're they go up against another team. They go up against like a team like a Bills or the Eagles. When they get to those, like if the Dallas Cowboys, teams like that, they're going to eat them alive. Micah Parsons would have a field day with our offensive line. So that's where I think they got to keep on working it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we said the same thing this time last year. Like, why does the offensive line suck? Maybe it just takes them a while to get together or something. I don't know.
But that's
It's
a
just,
good point. We've been saying it for like 3 years now.
yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
know, somebody made the point the other day, and I remember saying this because you know I was a Penn Stater, but and I love Fryermuth. I don't think he's as good as Heath Miller. He's a good tight end. Um, but boy, at the time they could have had Creed from the Chiefs center, and he is an All Pro. You know, he is a battleship that hikes a football. I mean, if you gave me the choice right now between him and Pat Fryermuth, I'd probably take him. Sorry, Steeler fans and Penn State fans, but I mean, he is just it's just we seems like we just don't have that anchor. I don't know, like on a defensive line, you know, even Cam Hayward sitting on the sidelines, he's an anchor. You know, how many years was Marquise Pouncey an anchor? Damani Dawson, Mike Webster. I mean, just go right down the line. Moon Mullins, whatever. It's just I don't know who's there right now. It's the leader.
yeah, yeah.
I just
Um,
don't. I mean, Max Starks. I mean, you can go down the line on the guys that you know were out there and doing what they did and being vocal. And I just feel like the offensive line is still a little lost. And it just and Joe, it's just not been the same since we lost the offensive line coach from 3 or 4 years ago.
Munchak.
It's just not been the same.
It's yeah, yeah. I I don't know.
And I
You
know a
just
lot of
hope.
the Steeler pundits really questioned that promotion of that guy of the current offensive line coach too. You know, and it's um, you got to wonder. You know, I know it's so weird to look at that joke because it's week 4. We don't know what's going to happen. Like you said, any given Sunday, but you know, if they get to 10-7, 11-6, and they make that playoff or the one round exit, you're looking at an improvement right now. It's got to be that offensive line. Got to shore up that offensive line. I mean, you went first round draft, you moved up to get a guy, and he really hasn't played all that much. I'm thinking maybe we'll see him next week against Texas because I think the plan was to get Dan Moore in there against, you know, the 49ers, against Miles Garrett and the Browns, and against Crosby of the Raiders. So is it time? Is it time to see Broderick Jones? You
Right,
know, and,
right.
you know, I'd like to see it. I'm not trying to harp on the kid, but at some point, what you paid to get him or what you did to get him, it's time to see the kid come out and start doing some stuff.
Maybe he'll be the piece. Maybe he'll be the anchor. A good, a good tackle. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. They what gives me hope against the Texans is their offensive line. They got Kendrick Green, and I think he's starting. So it's like, okay, that's an
Right.
automatic advantage for the defense.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be good for us. I mean, and that's the thing. I think this Raiders and Texas game are two winnable games. So these are the teams they should beat. You know, and the Browns was a team where it was like I think a 50-50 toss. And I actually had them losing to the Browns in that one, but they ended up winning. So yeah, I mean, get this next win, and then you're sitting there really pretty.
I'm going to be in Houston for that game.
Oh, you really?
I am going to be at that game. So they better win. I am not traveling to Houston for my team to lose. So
And that's
get it together. Get it together, offensive line.
and you got to pay attention when you leave your hotel to fly home because they have two massive airports in that city. You better know which one you flew into.
I know.
George Bush International. I forget the other one, but
There's George Bush, and then there's, I think, I'm not sure what the other one is. Yeah, yeah.
I called my contractor this morning. He lives in Plumboro, but he's a Raiders fan, and he flew out to Vegas. He's gone out to like I don't know how many Vegas games since they've been out there. And I talked to him this morning. I'm like, so how bad do you feel today, Ernie? And he's like, dude, he is not only did you guys beat us, he goes 70-30, maybe 80-20 Stiller fans. He said I was in Carolina once with a buddy, and that was pretty wall to wall. Yenzers. He said I don't think anybody was expecting that yesterday. He said it was just everyone flew in like Friday or Thursday, and it's he said I saw Randy Bauman walking around. I mean, just
Unbelievable.
yeah,
Unbelievable. They took over. They took over the Roomba. That stadium is just is designed like a giant Roomba. I,
yeah.
I don't know. what they were thinking. Like, okay, I want you to sweep the floor. I want to make a stadium out of it. But yeah, they Steelers fans took over that stadium. It was amazing. That's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if that game was in Oakland, the Steeler fans are not taking they're not taking
No.
over that stadium. Nobody's traveling to Oakland to see a game, but
Which was the funny
Vegas.
thing. Yeah, no, you make a great point because that was kind of the funny thing about this Raiders team was how are they going to do against opponents because New Yorkers fly out to Vegas. I mean, Minneapolis, you're flying to Vegas. Chicago, you're flying to Vegas. Denver, you're flying to Vegas. I mean,
It's the perfect destination. It's the perfect. It's like, oh, let's go to Vegas for vacation and arrange it around, our team seeing the Raiders. It's like the Raiders are never going to have a home field advantage.
right. You can probably fly to Vegas for cheaper than you can drive to Erie from Pittsburgh. So,
Yeah, basically.
um, but yeah, I mean, he said, and he's been a Raiders fan for his entire life in Oakland, LA, Oakland. He said, I never seen anything like that for the Raiders. And he said you could tell because they were pissed. He said we were at the 40-yard line, probably 10 rows up, and guys are coming over and pointing at stands, going. The Raiders were not happy.
Yeah. I heard Randy Bauman saying that they were, at one point it looked like Garoppolo got hurt, and it's like, okay, Garoppolo might not come back. He was looking around, looking for a Raiders fan to say, hey, who's their backup? He couldn't find one. All he saw was Steelers fans everywhere.
Right. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, but I think it's the position they put themselves in. Right. They beat the Raiders. They should go
The-
in. I
the-
think they beat Houston. Then you got the home game against Baltimore, which I think you and I are kind of on the same page this year. I'm splitting almost every game with the in the division. They can get that win and go into the bye week at what 5-1 at that point. That's pretty good first 6 weeks.
that's huge,
You
huge. I mean,
know?
I know their schedule is much tougher, in the second half, but that if they could beat Houston, gosh, beating Baltimore just does not look that great. And
Yeah.
the Steelers always play well against Lamar Jackson. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
do. At first, yesterday, it really looked like Lamar Jackson was going to take over that game. He looked phenomenal the first two drives, ran a touchdown in. Indianapolis didn't look like they had no idea what to do with him. And then I don't know if he doesn't adjust or people adjust better to him, whatever it may be. I think you're right about the Steelers defense. I think it's the speed. It gives him problems. So, yeah, that could be a huge game come October 6th against Baltimore. So then they go into the bye week.
Yeah.
And I think it's Rams, Jacksonville, Tennessee. So again, that could be. I think the Rams are beatable. Jacksonville's going to be tough. They've been tough since they were born playing
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, and then you got a Tennessee team. So yeah. Not trying to look too far ahead, Joe, but get too far ahead of ourselves. But they can really be sitting
I
pretty.
don't know. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't want to think about it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It might be looking good. One thing that was outstanding was the special teams. First
yeah.
of all, Boswell knocking out those 3 field goals, one of them 57 yards.
He's
I'll
just
bet
been
he I'll bet
fantastic.
he was hoping that he played in a dome all the time. Holy
Oh, I
cow.
know. Yeah, he'd probably. Yeah, he just. I think the poor kid. You got Justin Tucker out there, so he's behind him in the division. And Tucker missed a field goal yesterday, which is human.
A
Unlike
61
him.
yarder. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, which is well within his
That's
range.
almost automatic for him.
I know. But yeah, I mean, and you got some other guys like probably Butker and Bass and Buffalo is fantastic too. I mean, he had a monster day yesterday. But he's still, I'd take Boz, over a lot of kickers. He's been probably the best kicker we've seen. I mean, Skippy Reed was a great kicker. He was spunky, but I don't know if he was as reliable as Bosworth,
Well, the when they changed the stadium, it because remember when Heinz Field was first built, they had that open end
Yep.
on the one end, which really brought in the wind
Yeah.
from the lake, as Bubby Brister would say. The wind blows in from the lake, and then And then so like field goals were an absolute adventure. Any field goal was like going all over the place. Then
Yeah,
they close that up, so it's a little bit easier. But yeah, Boswell is just he's going for the best. I think he just tied the Steelers record for most 50-yard field goals or something like that.
yeah,
So I mean he's going for best kicker ever. He is just so when he's healthy, when he's hurt, he's horrible. But when he's healthy,
yeah. Well,
he's just about automatic.
yeah. I mean, he has a long way to go to catch Gary Anderson, but I mean, he's a guy. That's the best thing about a kicker, right? He could be our kicker for the next 10 years, so or however it may be. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Special teams was key yesterday. I couldn't believe that one ball just came in and just kind of like hit the guy in the numbers. I mean, they've been getting downfield, making their tackles, so they've been fantastic at special teams.
And
100%.
Presley Harvin, who we wanted to send to the moon a couple weeks ago, was just blasting every punt. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, and I think that's you always have a give and take with him. Like when he's bad, he's bad. But man, when he's good, he's really, really good. And fortunately for the Steelers, like you said, he's been pretty good for the last couple of games. 49ers game, he had that horrible punt. But it's just like, yeah, just as long as that doesn't show up too often.
I've heard people say, "Oh, punting doesn't matter." It's like, what are you talking about?
You're
Your
stupid.
team
Yeah.
is built on defense and field position. Punting is everything.
Yeah, Coach Tomlin addressed that after that 49ers game. I mean, you can't give the 49ers that kind of a field advantage. Are you out of your mind? I mean, I don't care if you have Brock Purdy or if you have, his backup with those weapons, you cannot give them a short field. And yeah, and that's going to be the same with Baltimore. I think that's a game where your special teams is going to come into play there.
Yeah, yeah. And then they do the Steelers offense does the impossible, throws a second touchdown. Oh my goodness.
I
Two
know
touchdowns. Oh my goodness. It's at the end of times.
it,
Um
it was kind of funny and sad at the same point for me. It's like, wow, he finally throws two touchdowns. Kind of sad he took him this long, but I still attribute that to he's been playing behind a crap line. He's had a horrible offensive coordinator. He got thrown in last year into the fire. So, the kid gets a pass.
and
So
and
yeah,
and
maybe
we
it's just one
can't.
of those things, Joe, where now he's finally did it. So who knows? Maybe next week he does it again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
And we have to, I hate to do it, but we have to credit Matt Canada. He actually drew up some good plays. Some of
yeah,
those plays that were good. Gotta give credit where it's due.
no, you're right. You're right. As
There
much as
was
you want to, yeah.
there was some stupid report before the game that Canada got promoted to what? I don't know.
How do you get promoted to the offensive coordinator? He only weighs up like head coach. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I mean, you're gonna have him work with Matt Canada, or you're gonna have him work with Kenny Pickett more. I mean, because it's
It's
not
it's
looked good that
it's
far.
it's like on The Office. You're not the assistant regional manager. You're the assistant to the regional
Dude.
manager or whatever. Like I don't know. I don't know. But every reputable reporter said that report was just ridiculous. Some dude just made it up. So
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Because I forgot who tweeted it out that he was gonna sing the national anthem, which is hilarious,
Well, what's next? He's going to be named like president of the United. Like, are they just
right?
installing him as the president or emperor or
Yeah,
something? I don't
he'll be
know. I
Speaker of the
don't
House for the next couple of years.
know.
Um, but no, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say he's the OC of the year yet, but there were some adjustments that were better, and that's what you got to cling to now. Just keep on getting better,
Yeah.
and I'd love to see them go into Houston, the team they should beat, and I really see that game kind of going like 28-21 Steelers, and I think that's kind of where it's going to be, and you know, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So yeah, at one point it was Steelers 23-7, and then the
Oh,
refs decided to make it close.
I mean, God, first of
My
all,
goodness.
that was Minka did a great job. He did exactly what that was delayed blitz. And when he came in, he hit him. And it's clearly evident that he hit his shoulder pad first and then his head. Meanwhile, Kenny got murdered twice in the first half.
Right. And no
No,
call. Yeah.
No call. So yeah, just a horrible missed call, a horrible call there. Um, just yeah, I mean they gave him 8 points. I mean without
The refs tried so hard to get the Raiders back in the game, and then the Raiders are down, so it's 23-15. The Raiders are down by 8 toward the end of the fourth quarter,
I know where you're going with this.
and the coach decides to kick a field goal. I have seen some stupid things in my life, but I've never seen anything. Okay. And then so it's like, I don't know, it's like 3-4 minutes left. You decide to kick the field goal, and then some penalty on the Steelers. So you get you get a first down. Okay. So surely they're not going to do something that stupid again. No. Now there's like 2:24 left, and he decides to kick a field goal.
I just yeah. I mean it was right up there. Dumbest coaching of the weekend. The second guy could have been Notre Dame for only having 10 defenders at the line against that Ohio State. I mean that was bad, but I don't care what he said he was trying to do. Yeah, why are you kicking a field goal? I mean, give your guys a chance. Um, that late in the game, that's the thing too. That late in the game, the Steelers defense had to play good, but I mean, you got Devontae Adams out there. I mean, they're a little gassed. It's the end of the give why not? Put the ball in hands of your best player, and they didn't do it. Josh Jacobs was very unimpressive, but then again, I think again you have certain guys that can do what like T.J. Watt did a few years ago and Nick Bosa did this year, and they can step in and they can be the guy. Uh, you know, uh, it's hard to say that Josh Jacobs, he was the leading rusher of the league last year, but I guess for a running back, I feel it's like a little different. Like he was off, he didn't show up, he didn't practice, he didn't do squat until week 1, and I think it showed, and it's been
the
showing.
the numbers show that when a running back basically holds out of camp, they're basically crap. They're or
Yeah,
at least they have an extremely slow start. You need those reps. You need that training camp time. It's very important for a running back. So yeah, he was. This is basically the best running back last year, and now he's just okay. Yeah,
right, and and we really kind of ruined their season last year. They had a chance at the playoffs. We took care of that at Christmas Day last year. I felt like they had a lot of reason to have play in the hardness game, and they played good for the most part. But I really feel like it was mostly Steelers for 3 of the 4 quarters. Really kind of dominated them. So
yeah,
in most aspects, except that
yeah.
offensive one.
Um, how about Keanu Benton? There was that one play where he just blew up the he
Yeah,
just went through the guy and just got his sack like that. It's like,
yeah.
whoa,
No,
dude.
where'd you come from? That looked great.
Exactly. Oh my
That looked
goodness.
great. Yeah. Well, and the Hayward play was Connor Hayward. That was a little what are you doing there? But that's well, I'll chalk it up to being a rookie. But no, I mean I think they come out of there primetime game on the road. Basically it's a home game on the road. They win 23-18, and yeah, now you get a Houston team that's suspect. So pretty good. We can say all we can and one about Matt Canada and this and that and Kenny Pickett, this and that, and can't complain. If they were
This
0
is
3, we'd be losing our minds.
right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the formula. This is the formula. You have a strong defense and you have an offense that does just enough. And they did a lot better this week. And then at the end, all they needed to get was a first down, and they did it.
they did it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's the one thing I think the Browns, I think a lot of us were kind of gun shy over the Browns because if we didn't have those 2 defensive touchdowns, we're not winning that game.
Right.
We did not look good. I mean, it was a win. I get it. It was against Browns. Fine. It was the ugliest win I can remember in a long time. But they did stuff. They did stuff to win. They made changes. They adjusted in the second half. We started having better play design, better execution from the players and the coaches. So yeah, definitely their best win to date. Of the 2 wins, the Raiders was much more impressive to me than the Browns.
Yeah. And maybe it's just the case that the 49ers have a really good team with a really awesome defense, and the Browns have a pretty good defense. And maybe that's why the Steelers offense didn't look so great. And against
Yep.
a not so great defense, that the Steelers offense look better. Maybe it's just down to that. Maybe, and you're not going to face elite teams every week. So, hey, take advantage of it while you can.
Right. Right. Hey, we don't have to stay up late for the next couple of weeks too. We got what, 1 o'clock, one
Oh
o'clock game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
perfect.
uh,
Perfect. Yeah. I
yeah. Are
know
you
I know my wife hates those late games because she
oh
we like to go somewhere and watch the game. So yeah.
are you flying down Saturday?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. Nice.
I I am hoping that there's like Steeler bars and Steeler tailgates, and we'll see how many Steeler fans show up, and that would be cool. So
I'll never forget the year we went down. They were playing Dallas, and it probably was Ben's second year, maybe third. He was young. And we go to Dallas. And it's like Dallas are wearing the black jerseys, right? Because it's Dallas and it's that stupid rule. Um, I swear I'd like to make Dallas wear the white jerseys when they played us on the road, but they wear the blue ones. But there was thousands of Steelers fans. And I didn't expect that. I thought Dallas, okay, I mean, they have a great fan base. And it was, again, I mean, it was probably 50-50. Just a terrible house. And I mean, I couldn't get over how many Steeler fans were in Dallas. So I'd have to think that you're going to run into a pretty large Steeler crowd in Houston.
That's gonna be cool. This is cool. This is my first away game. Oh my goodness, this might be my first away game ever.
Wow.
Like attending a game of as the away team. So I'm hoping I don't go viral by beating people up. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. If somebody says, Heinz ketchup is stupid or something like that, I'm gonna beat the crap out of them. If
Yeah,
somebody says Hunt's ketchup is better, we're throwing it down. That's it.
you're thrown
I'll end
down.
up in jail. I don't care. I'll defend the honor of our ketchup anytime. But
But you know what? It's
uh,
when you go to Houston where you'll find Heinz ketchup, and you'll find some local place here in the area that'll be stupid and sell like that, Rosie's Gold Red or Hunt's. It's always that way. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, you'll probably be all Heinz all the time down there.
It is crazy. No matter where you go, almost in the world, they're always almost always Heinz ketchup on the table. It's amazing.
Yeah, I had a layover in Dallas, Texas a few weeks ago, and they had Heinz ketchup. Yeah, at the Dallas airport, so Fort Worth. So I think you'll be okay in that aspect. But yeah, you'll find Yinzer tailgates. You just walk up and where are you from? Oh, Blawnox, and I grew up in Plum, and I grew up in Moon, and
It's the craziest thing. Yeah.
I went to South Florida.
Where was I? I was in Alaska, and there was and I was wearing Steelers. I was like, "Hey, Steelers!" I'm like, "Hey, where you from? You from Pittsburgh?" Like, "No, I just like the Steelers." Okay, that's cool too. All right.
Yeah. Well, the one guy on I Love Deadliest Catch, and I forget the one captain. He's got the huge white beard. He's a massive Steeler fan. I mean, he is just,
Nice.
and he comes to a lot of the home games because I don't think it's during the season or whatever they do, for whatever crabbing season is. But yeah, I mean, it just cracks me up how many Steeler fans that are out there that are just,
Nice.
it's insane.
Nice. So we will see. We will see. Hopefully
Yeah.
I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling this is going to be another game where they just they just ball out and remember that they're going like, oh God. All I can think of is Kendrick Green. You have a team with Kendrick Green. You can't be that. You got you got problems. You got. I mean, could you imagine T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and like the entire Steelers defensive line thing was like, ooh, we go against him? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's
The only thing that can stop the Steelers is if the plane doesn't land in the or
oh
something like that. Like
yeah. Where did they land? Kansas City?
it landed in
Yeah.
Kansas City. Yeah,
They
like
never said why. I guess I must have been something mechanical with the plane. And
something mechanical with the plane, something about oil levels or something like
they
that.
fly on the Steeler plane because I've seen it at Moon Airport, or at Moon Airport at the Pittsburgh International Airport.
So
That's the Steeler.
they're not taking Spirit Airlines or anything like
No.
that. They're taking
Yeah.
a private they're taking a team jet.
Yep.
And still,
Yeah.
I think they just wanted to see if Taylor Swift was still out there. Just they just wanted to meet Taylor Swift. It's like, hey, take a detour over here.
But
See ya.
I'll do this, but I'll tell you this, and I swear it's meant to be. I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift, but I just watched the Kelsey commercial, and then there was a Taylor Swift commercial on right after it. So it's meant to
Hmm.
be. But I will take Taylor Swift any day over Brittany Mahomes and his brother, and how annoying they are in that press box every time Patrick Mahomes
Right.
leaves. And she is
Right.
beyond. Ugh,
She's
I'm sure
she's
she's a nice
annoying.
lady. Oh, oh, she's
Um
so juvenile.
that the Mahomes brother Jackson or whatever is like a
Oh,
horrible human.
yeah.
Um yeah, and all I could think of when Taylor Swift was in that box was when Jessica Simpson was dating Tony Romo years
Yes.
ago, and she was standing there, and I think they blamed her for Tony Romo sucking or the Cowboys losing or something like that. Like it's her fault. Like, no, maybe it's because it's Tony Romo. maybe that's the root of the problem.
Yeah.
But
There's
but Taylor was very smart. She wore Chiefs colors. Very smart. They won. Uh,
She wasn't
so
obnoxious, I don't think. But I mean, it's just a long list. I mean, you had Brady had what just Griselle, and like you said, Tony Romo's a good one. And the Steelers, we've never had to worry about that. The only thing I can remember back was Bubby and his mom. I mean, that was classic. Like, remember when they showed his mom in the stands crying, and
oh, I don't remember that.
oh, I do, yeah, Bubby Brister and his mom, and yeah, I don't remember any high profile girls dating the Steelers. The only one I can think of is what's her name. She'll be at some of the games from America's Got Talent. She's a judge. She was on Modern Family.
I know who
See,
you're talking
we
about.
could talk about we could talk
But
about
they did
Yankees.
they broke up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh, because she would come to because that hit, and I forget his
it
name. I'll
was
tell you
Joe
what she was on.
Manganiello's wife.
Yes.
What's her
Yeah.
name? I forget. I forget
Somebody
what her
watching
name
these
is.
podcasts right now, like maybe Leanne might be screaming at us that you don't know who that is. And yeah,
Okay. So I just any of you Taylor Swift fans that are suddenly being introduced to football, let me explain the rules. You have 4 tries to get 10 yards. If you make a first down, you keep the ball and you cycle repeats. If you don't, you try to score a touchdown. Now, or you could be like the Raiders coach and just kick a field goal when you're down 8. You could
right.
also do that.
But see, that's the thing with Pittsburgh. It's different. Like the women here, a lot of women here know more about football than men do.
I,
So
I
it's like
think I
they're
think there
good.
was something that like like Pittsburgh women are the most knowledgeable football fans or something like
Damn
that.
right they
So
are.
yeah, we have the best female fans that are the most knowledgeable. That's like you have to like I don't care. I tease my daughter because she literally is like a huge Taylor Swift fan that knows nothing about football or nothing about sports, and I said, "Ha, you have to be a football fan now." But you, if you grow up or or you live or grow up in Pittsburgh, you gotta know your sports. At least have some elementary knowledge of sports. You can't just be like, no. Like that. It is ingrained in our region.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the rest, but I think Cleveland fans, the women are kind of the same way. It's just something about this area. Yeah. Yep. Totally
You
agree.
know, it, it's hard. It's hard being a fan of like, in like Miami or Los Angeles or something like that. You have a million things to do. It's like, should I watch football or go to the beach? Our choices are, should I watch football or
Go to the
watch the
yacht.
rain? Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
punch
have
on the
much
yacht.
going on here. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So we will see. All right, sir.
Hey,
Thank
safe
you.
travels to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope the plane doesn't break down or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
All
All
right. I'll
right.
see you.
Thanks, Joe.